and welcome to Ascending Voices. My name is Stumi Bays, and this afternoon I'm joined by Lerato Kganyago, entrepreneur, club DJ and philanthropist. Lerato, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. You forgot radio DJ, but that's allowed. That's fine. The most important one now.
The one that started it all, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm so excited, but I've been looking forward to this interview the whole week because I think seeing a young person, especially for me, I love young entrepreneurs, and seeing yourself branching out, you know, from being a DJ, being in television, into entrepreneurship, that for me has just been mind-blowing to watch.
Sure.
So well done.
Thank you. It's been a really incredible journey, a journey of hardship. You know, hardships, a lot of hard work, determination, but lots of passion, which I think actually contributes to the final picture and also contributes to where I am right now.
And let's talk about that. You know, I've always said, and I remember the first time I said this, I don't even know why I said it, because I'm not even too sure if I really felt it, but I woke up one morning and I said, I love what I do. Yeah. And every time you feel it, you do better. And when you wake up every morning loving what you do, it gives you so much power and energy. And that's what I pick up with everything that you do. Because I think you have to love music, right, to be in the music industry.
No, absolutely.
You have to like philanthropy. You have to love giving and helping other people in order to wake up every day. Tell me about your passion for what you do and how important that is in your work.
So I always say to people, if I don't love what I'm doing, you'll pick it up immediately because the interest is not really there, and you can even tell. I mean, I give it off very quickly, the body language and also my dedication to a project or whatever it is. If I'm not there emotionally or mentally, you pick it up. But I always go with things that I love. When you look at CSI projects, it's something that I've been doing from a very young age, growing up in a township, giving back. We were raised to give back, you know, especially when you start doing well. Our grandmothers will always say, don't forget where you come from. Yes. And when you do make it, you know, go back and help those that helped you to be where you are. You know, music, I love music. Music is what I call my escapism, you know, very therapeutical. I listen to music when I'm happy. I listen to music when I'm sad. Right. I use music to communicate with others. So when I'm in a club or a big festival, music is a language for me. So people get to figure out how I'm feeling with a song I play. You know, if I play a really emotional song with certain type of lyrics, maybe that speaks about the situation that I'm in, people actually relate. So you use music to communicate also. And I mean, music is a universal language. True, you know. True. And I just love music. That's why I'm on radio, you know, working on Metro FM and the show that I'm currently doing. It's mostly music.
Is it talk
oriented.
Radio?
No, it's not talk. No, Metro FM is not talk radio.
Okay. But there's a lot of talk in the middle.
Yeah,
right?
no, we do talk. I mean, we've got topics. I mean, every day we've got different topics that we touch on, from lifestyle to current affairs, just a lot of things. It just depends on the day. Yeah. And that's where radio also comes in. Television, I did a show called Live Amp, which also was music.
Actually, you know what, I'd like us to go back a little bit.
To
talk about where it all started and how you get to, you know, to be doing what you're doing now. Maybe let's start there.
So I was born and bred in Soweto, right? Growing up, I wanted to be a flight attendant. Why? Because, I mean, every day when I'd come back from school, I literally sit on my wall and watch these young, beautiful black women, you know, pulling their trolley bags and the beautiful South African Airways uniform. And I thought, wow, you know, and I'd always ask them, I was always intrigued, where are you going to today? Oh, I'm going to London. Where is London? Okay, how far is it? I'm going to America. And I would always ask myself, am I ever going to make it? You know, it was just so interesting. I mean, the poise, the way they carried themselves, and the fact that, you know, during apartheid, we did not have black women who were flight attendants. But obviously after 94, then you had so many of them. I mean, one of my mother's close friends is still a flight attendant, and she's like, I know, she's like in her 50s, you know? So really interesting. So I wanted to be a flight attendant, but I always wanted to be a lawyer. But you know, as a teenager, you want to be everything. Yeah. So I matriculated. Well, I went to a school in the township, and I think after 95, when you started having what you call the Model C schools, and when my parents, or should I say my grandparents and my mom, could afford me going to a better, what they called then a better school.
Yeah.
I went to Bramley Primary School, and I moved on to Boksburg High School because later on my family moved to Boksburg, the East Rand. And then when I got to matric, well, during like my matric year, I fell in love with beauty pageants. So
I heard something like that.
yeah. So I was a tomboy all my life.
You
right?
would never tell.
I promise you. So I was a tomboy, but when I got to grade 10, I think my mom wanted me to be a lady. So you know, if they were always my family was always complaining, you're always playing with boys, you're always in pants, your hair is never done.
Yeah.
And that's who I was.
Yeah.
But now, you know, she was very tricky about it. She said, okay, I'm taking you to a modeling school. You know, maybe you should try modeling. I didn't know that it was actually a grooming school.
Yeah.
Yes, so they teach you how to walk, how to sit, how to speak, you know, how to hold a glass, a cup of tea, etc. And I enjoyed it because I feel it played a huge role in who I became in the beauty pageant industry. Miss Soweto, when I was crowned Miss Soweto.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, that was when I feel my life began in the entertainment industry. So, yeah.
You know, you mentioned something very interesting, which I'd really like us to talk about a little bit, or touch on a little bit, about, you know, your mom's friend being one of the first black flight attendants. You know, one of the things that I've been personally reflecting on this Women's Month is how far we've come as women in South Africa, and where we are now and where we're going. We've made such progress and strides. And sometimes it really angers me, you know, that we still have to fight our way into certain positions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When there was a time when we were seen as equal, you know, to our men, when we were fighting for a common cause, which was apartheid, you know. And now the fight is different. It's like we come from so far, but why?
Yeah.
And how do you think, as women today, especially being an entrepreneur and being a leader in your own right, you know, how do you navigate spaces where you feel, you know, that you're not getting to where you need to because you're a woman?
Yeah.
I've experienced it. I know what it's like. It is frustrating, and I'd just like to find out from you, how do you deal with it? Because it is real. Unfortunately, we don't talk about it a lot.
No, of course. This is when you say we don't talk about it a lot. So just yesterday, I had that topic. We were talking about you know, challenges that women are still facing currently in a working environment, whether it's corporate, whether it's entertainment. So I opened the lines. Can you believe it that we probably had 1 or 2 callers? Wow. And some of the women were saying we're afraid to speak because we're afraid of being victimized, because currently we are working in establishments or working in whatever company that we feel somehow we are experiencing really hectic challenges. But because end of the day you have to put food on the table, what do? You know? So when it comes to gender equality, we still have a long way to go as a country. Like you mentioned, apartheid is like, wow, when are we going to catch a break as black women? You know, our mothers in this particular month, you know, thousands of women actually walked to the union buildings to make sure that we have what we have today, right? And you thought things would be easier, but it's not. I'm in a very male-dominated industry, and I've had to work harder, and I still am. You deal with things like misogynist, still very much there. Radio, male-dominated. It's only now that it's changing, where you're starting to see females hosting drive time or breakfast. You know, Anela now doing breakfast. But it was always like, if a woman hosts a show, she has to be accompanied by someone else. You know, there has to be a male, you know, that's helping her out or whatever. But it's slowly but surely changing, and I'm very grateful for Metro FM, because right now, breakfast, it's Mo Flavor, a gentleman, and then mid-morning is Dineo, who's now alone, and then I was with her previously, and now they've moved me to 12 to 3, and I mean, I'm flying solo with that. So I think that's also changing.
Well done. That's a very big achievement.
Yeah. So that's it. It is for me, and especially you know, with regards to the amount of time I've been on radio. I mean, the years I've been on radio.
You've earned your stripes.
Yeah. So no. That's why when they approached me, I was reluctant, I won't lie. And why I was reluctant was, I thought, okay, there was a gentleman, a really good broadcaster who was hosting this show. And he left to obviously to go work for another radio station. And I felt, I have really big shoes to fill. Am I going to be able to do this? Are people going to receive me as a female broadcaster? Are they going to listen? Are they going to like what I have to say? But another thing I've picked up is that when you're good at something, people notice. When you put in the work, people notice.
Your work speaks for itself.
Exactly. Your work will always speak for itself. It is there. I mean, I did stats about how many CEOs we have in our country, and I think it was something like 14% female CEOs, 14% CFOs. I mean, it's ridiculous numbers. And there's so many women out there that are qualified, that are experienced, that are more experienced than males in that position, but they'll never be offered that position because of who, it's a female.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the gains that we've made. When you look at the pandemic, for me, it sort of highlighted the gains that we've made and what we've lost and what we could have capitalized on. I had the honor of speaking to a neurosurgeon the other day who is female, and I thought, even to myself, did I ever think that I'd sit down with a female black surgeon? It's something that today shouldn't even be as big as it is, And someone said to me, we have to stop talking about female leaders. We must just talk about leaders.
Correct.
And that's something that I really hope in the near future we never have to say, a female DJ or a female neurosurgeon or a female astronaut,
Or first black female.
First black female.
Like, why do we own that title so much and we embrace it? But for me, it's not something to embrace when you say first black female. Yes, in the beginning I understood where it came from, but for now it's, why are we still having first black female after so many years? Because this is something that should have happened long time ago. Should be first leader, not first black female, like you say, a female DJ. I hate is such a strong word to use, but I don't like being introduced as a female DJ, because already I feel like you are separating me from the other. Whereby end of the day, a DJ is a DJ. We have the same experience. We do
still
the same thing.
The amount of work.
We put in the same amount of work, sometimes even more.
Because you're female, unfortunately.
Exactly. Female doctor, female driver. Female pilot.
When is it ever going to stop?
But I mean, it's just society. It's not only up to us, but I think we need to start teaching society. When we start having conversations like this, like, don't say first black female, because for me, when you say first black female, you are saying that it has taken that long for a black female to get to that or get that opportunity, which is wrong after so many years.
That is so true.
We should have been so far ahead.
Now let's look on the positive. I actually got a text. I was talking to someone and who mentioned that, are you aware that the South African team in the Olympics, the only people that have managed to get to be awarded to get medals are females?
That is hot.
That is huge.
That is huge. But I mean, it shows you. And I love South African men, because I feel every single day we are proving our worth. We are becoming stronger mentally and physically. We are speaking about the social ills openly. We are speaking about things that make us uncomfortable. We are speaking openly about things that hurt us. We're not shy anymore. When you look at GBV, when you look at rape, a lot of women are coming out. Yes, there's still a lot of women that are afraid to speak because of, we know, I mean, what happens when a woman speaks. You go to the police station and you're turned back, or you are victimized, you're interrogated, etc. But when we teach, I mean, if a woman comes out and speaks about being raped openly, you're teaching the next person that it's okay for you to speak about it. It's okay for you to go to the police station and report. So,
I like what you're saying, because I think during the week I wrote something that we have to change the manner in which we speak. We have conversations.
Yes.
We have to speak in a way that we encourage action.
Exactly.
Because that's the only way that we can effect change.
100%.
So perhaps, I don't know if you get a message out there to somebody who's listening, who has control, some kind of control over this, to say perhaps we need to change the way that we're communicating so that we can effect change, because we've been talking and something different has got to happen at the, at the end after a certain conversation. So it is encouraging that we find ourselves in a position where even men are participating and really are trying to become part of the solution. So in that way, I really love what you're saying, that you really love and appreciate even our men, because they're on radio, when you host these kind of talk shows or conversations on air, they do contribute.
Yes, they do
and become part of the solution.
Let me tell you, and I don't want to say majority of my listeners are males, but the ones that aren't afraid to interact, like the conversation we're having about women, some of the challenges that women face. There was, and I said it's strictly for women, but there was a gentleman who called in and he said, Lerato, I know, that you said this is strictly for women, but this is something that also affects us, something that we see our sisters go through, And he mentioned, I can't remember what he was talking about, but he was just talking about in where he works, he's also in corporate, and he's seen so many women go through a lot, but they aren't, because women don't unite, some of these problems don't necessarily go away, they become bigger, or so,
I must say, I've experienced something recently where there is, and maybe it has to do with COVID, I just don't know, where I talk to a lot of women and we're all experiencing the same thing, especially if you're an entrepreneur like yourself, where we're all going through the same, like, oh my God, these are the challenges, we're all in the same boat, where it's almost difficult to pretend, as if, when are you not affected? So it's also changing the way that we communicate. And that actually brings me to the next question. It's about entrepreneurship. How did you start? I know that you've got businesses. We can talk about your entrepreneurial journey and how you're finding it, and any words of encouragement that you have for any young girl who's watching, who's like, I'd like to be a businesswoman someday.
Sure. First things first, it's not easy, right? No. It's not an overnight thing. And I'm going to be honest, I thought it would take me a month or two to start making money. But it literally takes you a year to start seeing something. Maybe 5% of what you've been working on. But this is what business is all about. I own a company called Flutter by LKG, and our slogan is Beauty for Purpose. So when I say beauty for purpose, beauty with a purpose, it's we've got the eyelashes, we've got eyelash shampoo. That's where I started, right? And then we've got soap, and now we've got sanitary pads. And they're all my babies, but the sanitary pads are something that's really close to my heart because it goes with the CSI projects that I do.
Please tell me a little bit about that, because I'm particularly very interested in that. And I love the fact that you produce locally, because that's something that I really, really love.
So I've got my own line, sanitary towels. They are called Flutter by LKG, of course. And we mainly focus on period poverty. Period poverty is basically, thousands, millions of women in this country don't have access to sanitary pads in the townships and the rural areas. So I think about 5-6 years ago, I did something, a drive, donating sanitary pads to like the rural areas, etc., but using other brands that are in the market, the bigger brands. I'll always be listen.
I can see how you got this.
So I'll always be grateful for their support, etc. And we'd go to schools, and let me tell you, like the stories I heard, and I keep hearing till today, young girls that don't have money to buy sanitary pads, that use leaves, they use the same pad for an entire week, that use newspapers, that don't go to school because they're on their periods. It's something that really breaks my heart. So I decided to make this my thing now, our thing, period poverty. Not so long ago, we actually had an online virtual party, and it was to raise funds for period poverty. And what we did is that we got a couple of DJs to come and play. And every DJ, we gave them, I think it was about 100 pads to actually donate to a charity of their own choice. And we had the president on.
Oh, amazing.
Exactly. So I still don't know how that happened.
We'll talk about it after this.
Exactly. But you know, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa was part of the. I mean, he gave out a really interesting speech with regards to what the government is doing when it comes to giving out free sanitary pads and how much, of course, they have given in the country. You know, they're not doing as much as we'd love to, but I always say I'd rather have them do something than nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know? I think for me, reassuring us that, listen, we're not ignoring the fact that we know that there's this thing called period poverty.
Yeah.
We know that there's girls who don't, I mean, we speak about sanitation, clean water in this country. Some people don't have access to clean water. You know, educating young women about their bodies, even gentlemen, even young boys, you know, because they need to know.
Yeah. Now, the next thing I'd like us to talk about is the importance of self-care, you know, which is something that I think we don't talk about enough, and self-development. You know, I meet a lot of young women that want to go into business or be in television, and, you know, they always, you know, ask me for advice or to say, this is what I would like to do. I actually had this one child say to me, you know, Austin, this is what I want to do, but I don't want to be on YouTube. I want to be you know, you're like, oh, okay. You know, which I really like, because when people watch you or see what you do, I sometimes ask myself if they know what actually goes behind building a brand, you know, that you need a mentor, you must get an education, which is something that I'm such an advocate of, you know, whether you do an online course or, you know, you do self-taught, it's very important that you spend time investing in your own development and most importantly, looking after yourself, especially during this time of COVID where we're almost forced to be on our own, right? And evaluate not only your business, but your lifestyle, your mental health.
Sure.
How important has that been for you in terms of looking after Lerato and looking after your personal growth? Yeah.
So I'm one of those people that lives with the saying, you never stop learning. Sometimes people will say, why do you say that? So I always say, I will never say I'm great, because I believe in everything that I do, there's room for improvement. When I go on air today, when I wrap up, you know, I go back and I look at what I could have done better, etc. And this is how you grow as an individual. You know, get feedback from, it's either management, your peers, whoever, you know, even maybe the listeners or the viewers, if you're on television, you know, about how you deliver or how you can become a better person. I personally, for me, I believe there is no one who is great. Serena, when she's had a game, I'm sure when she watches, she goes back and she says, I could have done it this way. Do you know what I mean? And that's the type of person that I am. I learn from my peers. I read, you know, when it comes to business, I read stuff to better me, especially my business knowledge. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. I unfortunately have not done a course for entrepreneurship, but I surround myself with entrepreneurs and ask them, there's never a stupid question, you know. I ask them about, okay, how did I own a nail salon, by the way. And that also is just another journey for me, you know, buying a franchise and learning so many things about it. And you learn as you go, you know. Just teach yourself, you know, don't be too arrogant to ask questions. Don't be too arrogant or don't be scared to ask, okay, so how do I do this? And I keep saying there's never a stupid question.
That's true.
This is how I got to where I am today. And, you know, my management at the SABC, they'll always say that one reason we love about Lerato is that she's never scared to ask and she always wants to be better, you know. If I get advice about something that I did and say, okay, you could have done it that way. And I go back to the drawing board and the following day, I apply it, you know, I make sure that I become better.
You've actually, no, sorry, go ahead.
No, go right ahead,
You've actually reminded me of something, I think a couple of years ago when I was still in banking. I remember working on a deal for almost a year, and I remember it was 16 million, and it was the biggest at the time, you know? And my boss was like, okay, when was the next one coming? And I didn't even finish sipping my glass of champagne. But he said to me, you're as good as your last deal. You know? So we're going to celebrate that and then it's off to the next. You have to be better than that.
Absolutely.
And that for me was such a big lesson, especially as an entrepreneur now, that you always want to be improving and learning, and especially from other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and asking questions.
Yeah. And unfortunately, some people might see it as competition, but I'm always like, I want to know how you get there.
Yes.
You got there. I want to know what Dumi studied. Okay, what was the course about? What was, how did it help you? If Dumi owns a business, so I run a business. We put both our businesses together. We see where one maybe has a loophole, etc., and we learn from each other. And that's the type of person that I am. I mean, in my company, I've got young girls that work for me, and I learn so much from them.
Absolutely.
Like sometimes I'll be like, what am I going to do with these two?
I know. And sometimes I feel like I'm old. I'm like, oh my God, these young people are all like this.
Yes. I mean, I've got a young lady that works for me, Vanessa. She's remarkable. I mean, she's worked with some of the biggest artists in the country. I don't know how I got her, but even today, Koki also there, she studied, she's got a degree. She got 2 degrees, actually. I know one of them is marketing, and she's furthering her studies. But the way they're so dedicated to the brand and the way they respect not only me, but they've taken the business as their own.
That's also important as well, having people that believe in your dream and that also buy your vision.
And it's hard to get that. It's hard because end of the day, some people would just want to work 9 to 5 and then go home, then they switch off. But they're constantly working because I always say it's not only my baby, this brand, but it's also yours.
And I must just add, because I'm not only because my team is here, I've also been blessed with the same, people that have been around me for the longest time. They've seen the ups and the downs. They understand what business is about. And what I really love is when they start going out on their own, I know that they've learned, from the ground and all the way up. They know what it's all about. So
that's the most important
actually is a way of imparting knowledge, and that is leadership, by the way.
Yeah, that is leadership. That is most certainly leadership. I always say to them that I want the day that you leave, you part ways with me.
Absolutely.
When you stop making way for others to come and join the Flutter by LKG team. That when you start your own thing, you take that knowledge or whatever experiences that you've learned and you apply them on your next venture. And that's what women should be. We should be here to teach, especially as the older, I'm not that old, but
I'm not either.
the younger ones. We need to teach them. We need to show them the ropes. We need to, guide them. We need to tell them about our flaws, our experiences, our mistakes.
And so they actually see it because they're part of the organization.
So that they don't make the same mistakes.
Lerato, this has been incredible, and this is really I knew this is how it was going to be, and I'm told we are running out of time.
Oh, that sucks. It's all right, though.
It's all right. So thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I really hope we have more conversations after this about your pads business. I really, really love the model. And let's see what we can do.
Oh, can't wait. Thank you for having me once again.
Such a pleasure.